This video is about estimating the cost of the general requirements for construction projects. And by the way, the general requirements is not a small or negligible part of the project. No, it can be up to 10% or more of your project value. Just before we look into the numbers, we need to understand what are the items that come under the general requirements section in the BOQ so that we can estimate the cost of these items. We can categorize these items under 9 subsections as following: conditions of contract, specifications, restrictions, contractor's administrative arrangements, constructional plant, employer's facilities, contractor's facilities, temporary works, and sundry items. And now let me explain what are the items that will come under each of these subsections so that you can understand how to estimate the cost of the general requirements. And the first subsection we have here is the conditions of contract. And under the conditions of contract, we need to list down all our clause headings in the contract. So as you can see here, we have the preamble and we have introduction. These are all clause headings. We have contractor obligations, technical details, contract price, but all of these I am marking them as included because they don't have any cost impact. But for example, the terms of payment, in the terms of payment in the contract, we will find that we need some bank guarantee for the advance payment and for the performance bond. And the advance payment will be 10% of the contract value and the performance bond is also 10%. But in order to issue a bank guarantee for this value, then the cost of this will be about 0.5% from 10% of the project value. So here I have a project and the expected price of the project is about 65 million. So 10% from that, it's 6.5 million, which will be the advance payment. So in order for me to issue an advance payment security in the form of bank guarantee, we need 0.5% from this number. So that's 32,000. And again, for the performance bond, they need again another 32,000. So what I am putting here is the summation of these two numbers, like 32,000 multiplied by 2. So this is regarding the terms of payment. And for the project duration, we don't have anything. For the delay penalty, fine. For the defects liability period, fine. These are all clause headings. Then for the project insurances, guarantees, and warranties, here I am having an amount, and this amount is coming from here. So contractor all risk insurance, because as per my contract, this insurance is required. And let's say that we have approached an insurance company and got a quotation of 0.4% of the contract value. So if the contract value is 65 million, then 0.4% from that is 263,000. So this clause heading or this section in the contract, it has, let's say, a cost impact. So that's why I am having an amount here. And this amount is the cost of the car insurance or the contractor all risk insurance that is required as per the contract. Then after that, we have traffic obstruction and neighboring properties. This is one of the contract clauses. Then enabling the works of others. Here I don't have anything, or it is not expected in this project to enable the works of others, but in some other project you might need to do that, enable the works for others or provide them scaffolding or something. So you might need to have a cost here or a price here. But in this case, there is nothing, so it's just included. Then for the site housekeeping, and this is just housekeeping of the site. So I am having an amount here again, and I have a breakdown for this amount, 171,000. So here I have one tab that I call housekeeping, and here I am splitting it into labors and tools. And I'm assuming that I will need unskilled labors to do the housekeeping. And I am assuming here 5 labors into 18 months because the project duration is 18 months. So 5 into 18, that's 90 labors or 90 labor months multiplied by the salary of one labor. So I am getting here 99,000. And for housekeeping tool set, again, I am assuming 5 labors multiplied by 18 months multiplied by 8 sets. And I'm assuming the set price is 100. So just 720 multiplied by 100, that's 72,000. And when you get the summation, that's 171,000. So this is how I am calculating the housekeeping. I have to assume the quantity, and we have also to put some basis for our estimate. How are we going to do the housekeeping? So here, what I am assuming is that I will have 5 labors for 18 months and I'll provide them with 720 sets of whatever shovels or trolleys or whatever required to do this cleaning. And I am just putting the salary here and the rate per set here, and I am getting a summation to get this amount. So this amount will go here in the site housekeeping. You see, when there is a clause in the contract that tells you that you have to maintain the site housekeeping, you have to maintain the site clean and all of that, it is having a cost impact. So that's why we have an amount here. Then there is another clause in the contract that says deep cleaning and demobilization after completion of the work. So for the deep cleaning, I'm just putting 150 here, and this is taken from a vendor quotation. Deep cleaning company gave me a quotation of 150 for the deep cleaning, so I'm just putting this amount here. Then work inspections included, risk excluded from contractor's scope included, suppliers and subcontractor. All these conditions, they don't have cost impact for me. Variations, additions and omissions, non-compliance with the contract, project communications, and dispute resolution. So all of these things are included for me, but the items that will really have a cost impact, we put the cost here in this subsection. The second subsection we have here is the specifications. And here we are talking about the specifications related to the general requirement. So in our specifications for the project, if there are any specifications related to the following subsections of the general requirements, these specifications need to be priced here. So let's assume that in our case, there is nothing special about the specifications of the requirements of the general requirements. So that's why I am marking this item as included here. There is nothing major to talk about. And when we come to the subsection number 3, which is the restrictions, you will find here that the contractor to allow for any project restrictions, such as what? What are the restrictions that can be in a project? Access and position or use of the site. So for example, are there anything on the plot of the project so that you have to clear the plot before you start the works and all of that? If yes, then clearing the plot before starting the works will cost money, then you will have an amount here. Limitations of working space. So let's assume that the site is very small and you have to, let's say, rent the neighboring plot so that you can make a store there. Then if this is the case, you will have a cost here. Limitations of working hour, maybe due to some regulations or something, you can work only 6 hours per day, or you can work only from 6 evening until 12 evening, or some other specific working hours that will make you use more resources, for example, so it will add a cost, so it will have a cost impact, then this number might come here. The fourth point here, the maintenance of existing services on, under, or over the site. If there are any existing utilities that has to be, let's say, relocated or removed or something, then it will have a cost. It will come here. Here I am marking everything as not applicable because I am assuming that for this project, all of these items are not applicable, they are not coming. And the fifth point here, the execution or completion of the work in any specific order, sections or phases. So if this thing will have a cost impact on the project, then we have to put it here. But again, in my case, it is not there. And any other items of similar nature to restrictions, anything that will restrict your work in the project. So here, for this example, I just explained to you the items. If any of these items are applicable to your project, so you will need to find the cost and put the cost. If not, then there are no restrictions in the project and all these items will be not applicable. And now moving to subsection number 4, which is contractors' administrative arrangements. And here the items that come under this subsection are as following. We have the first one, the site administration and the supervision. Number 2, security. Number 3, we have safety, health and welfare of work people. Number 4, transport of work people. So we have these 4 items under contractors' administrative arrangements. So let's start with the first one here, which is the site administration and supervision. From where I am getting this number, I'll have to make a breakdown like this with the category of all the engineers that will be working, the engineers and the admin staff of this project. So here, as you can see, I have a project manager, site engineer, supervisor, structural engineer, architect, and so on. So also we have the office attendant, driver, storekeeper, document controller, planner, quantity surveyor. So all the categories of the people that will be working in this project. And here we have the project duration in months. So from month number 1 until month number 18. And what I am doing here, for example, project manager, I need the project manager from the start of the project until the end of the project. So I need one project manager in the first month and in the second and in the third and so on up to month number 18. So I need to pay the salary of the project manager 18 times. And the occupation 100% because this project manager will be managing only this project. So this figure here is 100%, which means that he's working on this project full time. And if the salary of the project manager is 20,000, then in that case, I am just multiplying the total number here, 18 multiplied by 100% multiplied by 20,000. So I am getting 360 here. So this is the total salaries that will be given to the project manager. Then we come to something like electrical engineer, for example. So I don't need the electrical engineer in the first month. Again, this is what I am assuming here. So I need the electrical engineer for 17 months only. But the thing is that I don't need this engineer full time. I need 33% of time only of the electrical engineer. So this engineer can handle 3 projects of the same nature at the same time. This is the assumption that I am doing now. So again, when we calculate this total, it's the number of months, 17 multiplied by 0.33 multiplied by 10,000. So I am getting this value. And just when I take a summation, I am getting here 1,093,000, and this is my cost for the site supervision. So this cost will go here opposite to the item. Then when we go to the next item, which is the security, again, I have a breakdown for this one. So I have here for the security, I need security guards, 2 numbers. And if the project duration is 18 months multiplied by 2, so I am getting a quantity here of 36. And this is the salary of a security guard. So when just multiplying the quantity by the rate, I am getting 54,000 here for the security guard, one for the day shift, one for the night shift. This is the security guards, or regarding the security guards. Now for the kiosk, where this guard will sit, he will sit in a security kiosk. So for this kiosk, I need 1. And now when we start talking about assets, because a kiosk is actually a porta cabin or a small porta cabin. So I need to purchase this. So I'm assuming that I'm purchasing this at 10,000. And now let me introduce you to the concept of depreciation. So this item or this kiosk, it will cost 10,000 to buy it. But the value of this asset, I am assuming here that it will become 0 after 2 years of using. That means that the cost per year of using this kiosk is 10,000 divided by 2. So I am getting here 5,000 cost per year or per 12 months. So if the project duration is 18 months, so all I have to do is to multiply the 5,000 by 1.5. And I am putting this value here, which is the 7,500. So if you notice, I am not charging the full purchase price of the kiosk to this project. No, I am charging a portion of it, which is 7,500. So that's how I got this number. Then inside this kiosk, I need a desk and I need a chair and I need an AC. So I'm listing down these things along with their prices. And maybe also we need a security gate barrier. So I'm just putting 2,000 here, manual security gate barrier. So I'm getting a cost of 65,000 for the security of the project. So I am just moving this number and I am adding it here next to the security. Now when we go to the third point, which is safety, health and welfare of work people, I am having here 349,000, and this is basically the safety of the project. So how I am calculating this number, here I have a tab that I call safety, and for the safety I need unskilled laborers. Again, I need 5 laborers into 18 months, so I am getting 90 here, and this is the salary, so I'll pay this much in salaries to the laborers who will execute the safety works. And we need also personal protective equipments or PPE, and I am assuming here 3,000. How did I get this 3,000? I'm assuming that in this project we will have 500 laborers on average every day, and I'm assuming that each of these laborers will have 6 sets of PPE during the project lifetime. So 500 multiplied by 6, that's 3,000, and per set 50, so I'm getting 150 here for the PPE. Then for the security tools like warning tapes, cones, barricades and all of that, this project is actually 10 floors, so I'm just putting a lump sum amount here, 10,000 per floor. So 10,000 into 10, that's 100,000, and this is how I'm getting around 350 here for the safety of the project. And now when we come to the fourth point, which is the transport of work people, I'm getting 374,000 here, and again I have a breakdown for this item. So how I am going to be transporting the people who will execute the work. Here if we go to the transport tab, again we have bus purchase price, which is 300,000. And again, I am assuming that this bus will be depreciated over 7 years. So in that case, the cost per year will be equal to 300 divided by 7. So this bus is losing 42,000 of its value every year. So if I'm going to use this bus for a year and a half in this project, then all I have to do again, cost per 18 months is equal to cost per year multiplied by 1.5. So I'm getting that the cost of using this bus for 18 months will be around 64,000. So I'm assuming here that I need 3 buses for this project. So here number of buses is 3 multiplied by the cost per project duration, 64,000, and I am getting here 192,000. Then cost of maintenance of these buses, again the quantity is 3, and I am just taking 10% of this cost as expected maintenance cost just to allow something for the maintenance. Then for the fuel, here I have a quantity of 54. I am assuming that 18 months into 3 buses, so I have to refill the buses for 54 times, and each time will be 1,000. So this is the fuel for the buses. And we also need drivers, so we need 3 drivers multiplied by 18, which is the duration of the project, multiplied by the salary of the driver, so we get the amount for the drivers. And when we take a summation, again we are getting 374 for the transport of work people for the buses and the drivers and the fuel. And quickly, if we are meeting for the first time, I am Ahmed Adel and you are watching Cost Engineering Professional, and here I help you develop the required skills and enhance your knowledge to elevate your cost engineering career. So if this is what you want, you can quickly subscribe. Now coming to the 5th subsection, which is called Constructional Plant, and under this subsection we have small plant and tools, and we have scaffolding, and we have cranes and lifting plant, and we have site transport. So for the small plant and the tools, I am marking them here as included because usually I load this cost on the cost of the items in the other sections of the BOQ. Number 2 is the scaffolding, and I have a number here. So how did I estimate the cost of the project scaffolding here? Again, I have scaffolding calculation here. So if we go to the scaffolding calculation, the cost of the scaffolding will be equal to this number, 327. And this number is coming from here. So how did we calculate this number? Here, structural scaffolding quantity required, I am assuming that I need 15% of the project built up area as quantity of scaffolding. So let's go to the project information here. And as you can see, the project built up area is 21,000 square meters. So what I am assuming that the required horizontal scaffolding is 15% from that. So I need 3,276, let's say, square meters of scaffolding. Very good. Now, what is the purchase rate per square meter? I am assuming here 500. So if I am going to purchase these scaffoldings, 3,200 square meters, if I multiply that by 500, I'll get a scaffolding purchase price of 1.6 million. But the question, will I charge the full 1.6 million to this project only? Of course no, because scaffolding is an asset. Again, I have to depreciate this asset over, let's say, 5 years. So the cost to use this 3,200 square meter of scaffolding per year is equal to the purchase price of the scaffolding divided by 5. So I'm getting a cost per year of 327 here. And this number comes here. So the cost of the scaffolding is this much. And then I have scaffolding maintenance and the spare parts and all of that. So again, I am taking 10% from the cost of the scaffolding up here. And this is for the horizontal scaffolding. For the elevation scaffolding or vertical scaffolding, again, I am using the same thing. I have elevation scaffolding quantity here. I calculated the quantity, let's say, from the drawings. And the purchase rate per square meter is this much. So I'll buy this scaffolding at 972,000 and the depreciation is 5 years. So the cost per year again is this divided by 5. I am getting the cost per year. And actually, why here for these two items I am using only cost per year, not cost per year and a half, which is the project duration? Because the structure will be 1 year out of 18 months. And again, the elevation work will be within the range of 1 year again of the project time. So I'll not have an elevation scaffolding from day 0 to last day. No, I'll need it only for 1 year, and similarly for the structural scaffolding, I'll need it, I'm assuming, for 1 year. So that's why the cost here is per 1 year only. So I'm just adding these two costs here, and I am adding 10% for the maintenance, and that's how I am getting 574, and this 574 will go here to our scaffolding or to our general requirements BOQ. For the cranes and the lifting plant, here we have the cranes. So again, we need a tower crane. I am assuming that this project requires only one tower crane. I'll purchase this tower crane at 1 million and I'll depreciate 5 years. So the cost to use the tower crane per year is again 1 million divided by 5. So that's 200,000, and I'll need the tower crane for 18 months. So I'm just multiplying by 1.5 here, and I'm getting a cost of 300,000. So the cost of using this tower crane in this project is 300,000. It will come here, and again 10% for the maintenance. And for the operator, I need operator for this tower crane for 18 months, and I am putting his salary here, so I am getting the total. And for the unskilled laborers, who will be the riggers, who will like load the things on the tower crane and unload them and all of this stuff, I'm assuming 4 guys and for 18 months. So 4 multiplied by 18, that's 72, multiplied by the salary, and this is how I am getting this number. And in addition to the tower crane, I'll need a hoist also. And the hoist is like an elevator which is fixed on the elevation of the building for the purpose of construction. So again, how much is the hoist purchase price? Let's say 500,000, and the depreciation years 5 years. So when you divide, you get the cost per year 100,000, cost per year and a half 150. I put the 150 here, 10% maintenance, and the operator for that, again, I need 1 guy, but actually here it should be for 18 months. So 18 multiplied by 1,500, and unskilled laborers to load the things and unload them from the hoist. And when you take the summation, I am getting 694,000 here, which is the cost for the crane and lifting equipment, which I'm assuming here hoist. Then for the site transport, actually we spoke about the transport of work people, which meaning the transport of the laborers. Here this site transport, I am just assuming 1 car here. So the car price, let's say 100,000, again depreciated in 5 years. So that's 20,000 plus 18 into 300 fuel. So I am getting a cost of 25,000 here to use 1 car for the site, for the, can be a pickup or something like that. So this is regarding subsection A5. Now when we go to subsection A6, which is employers' facilities. And what are the employers' facilities that we have here? We need temporary site office for the employer, including the furniture and all of that. So for this, again, I need a breakdown to see where this number is coming from. If I go to the site office here, I can see that if I need a site office, I will need first a porta cabin. So porta cabin, which has 2 rooms, 1 bathroom and 1 pantry, it will cost 10,000, let's say. And the mobilization and demobilization of that, let's say 3,000. And I need a water tank for this porta cabin, so 2,000, 1 AC and some 7 lights inside the porta cabin. And then for the furniture, desk, chair, laptop, printer. So I'm just putting the numbers here, multiplying by the prices to get these things, because all of these things will be inside that porta cabin. Then for the consumables, again, the duration of the project is 18 months multiplied by 500 on average per month. So I'm getting 9,000, and this is how I am getting 38,000 here, which will come here. So I am assuming that I will put 1 porta cabin for the client. Then telephones, we'll see that our contract, does it say that we have to provide telephones to the client? If yes, then again, how much is the package, and multiplied by 18 months, which is the duration, and you will put the value here. In this case, this item is not applicable. Vehicles, maybe your contract says that you have to provide the client engineer with a car. Then again, the same calculation, 20,000 plus 18 into 300, and we explained this previously. Then special requirements like any softwares, or if your contract says that any specific software should be purchased for the purpose of managing this project by the client or something. In this case, it is not applicable, but in some other cases, it might be applicable. And now when we go to the subsection number 7, which is the contractor's facilities, and the contractor's facilities are starting again with temporary site office. And here for the client, we calculated the site office before, 38,000. So here just for the contractor, I am using the same number with the same breakdown, but I am multiplying it by 2 because I am assuming that for the contractor to make all these people sit, you need 2 porta cabins. So I am assuming 2. So I am just multiplying the 38,000 here by 2, and we saw the breakdown of that previously. Then for storage and stores and the storage areas, I am just putting 15,000 here lump sum. And for the bathrooms, there are some porta cabins that are not divided into rooms. They are just divided into bathrooms. And you will need to see how much is this porta cabin, and you might need a water tank and a septic tank. So again, the submission, and you do some depreciation and all. I'm just putting here 20,000 for the purpose of illustration only. Then labor accommodation and transportation, and we allowed for this previously for the transport of work people. But for the labor accommodation here, actually, if you will provide a specific accommodation for the labors of this project, then this cost will come here. But for me, I am loading this cost on the activities themselves. So for me, this part is included. And the temporary fencing here, the temporary fencing, we are talking about the site hoarding or site fencing. So how many linear meters multiplied by the rate? I am getting 37,000 here. Temporary roads, I am assuming not applicable here. Water for the works. So regarding the water, what I am assuming here, I am assuming 18 months duration, and I'll fill a tank that will be in the project 4 times per month. So I am multiplying by 4, and each time I'm spending 500. So 18 multiplied by 4 multiplied by the price of a water tanker that will fill my tank at the site, plus the price of the water tank, plus 3 pumps here, plus 10,000 for the network if I need some hose or some pipes or something like that. So I'm just getting 54,000 here. Then for the lighting and the power for the work, this one is big one actually, and we have a breakdown for that. So when we go to the power here, we need generators for the site. And I'm assuming here that with my power requirements for this site and all of this, 2 generators of 250 kVA will be enough. So how much is the purchase price of this generator? Here it's 250,000, and again depreciation 5 years. So the cost of using this generator per year is 50,000. So if I will use it for 1.5 years, that's 75,000. So 2 multiplied by 75 to get this amount. And if you are going to rent this generator, then you will put here the duration per month, and if 18 months multiplied by 2, then you will put the quantity here, and you will put here the monthly rate, and you will get here the amount. So you can rent for anything, you can rent or you can buy, but for my calculation here, I am assuming always I will buy and depreciate because it will be an asset. And by the way, when I am talking about the depreciation here all this time, I am assuming that the cost of this or the value of this asset will reach to 0 after 5 years. But actually this is not the case, because you can buy at 250 and after 5 years you can sell it at 70, let's say. So the utilized cost will not be the full price of the asset. It will be only a part of it, which will decrease these numbers if you want to reduce the amount of the general requirements. So here 2 generators, 150. And then for the fuel, you need to calculate the fuel consumption for the generator. So here average fuel consumption at 50% load is 30 liters per hour, and the working hours per day 10. So fuel consumption per day, I need to multiply these two, I need 300 liters per day, and the fuel supply rate per liter, I need to put the rate here, and the fuel per day required will be 300 liters per day multiplied by the price per liter. So you get here how much you need to spend daily for the fuel. Then again, fuel per month, it's 17,000. I'm just multiplying this by 26, which is the number of working days per month. So I'm getting that I need 17,000 of fuel per month. So if my project is 18 months, and by the way, this is for 1 generator. Actually here I should multiply this quantity by 2, because we have 2 generators. So 36 here, 36 the quantity, and multiplied by 17,000, I am getting 600 here. This actually increased the cost of this part. And this is how you allow for the generators and the fuel of the generators. Then you need some temporary distribution board, because you need power, you need electricity in the site to connect your drills and all your hand tools and all of that. So here I am just assuming 20 numbers of distribution boards, 5,000 each, so I'm getting 100,000 here. Then I am assuming that I will use 1,500 linear meters of cables, so I'm getting the cost of cables also, so distribution boards and cables. And then we need lighting for the work. So temporary lights, I need 200 lights, and this is the rate, so this is the amount. Cables and wires, again, I'm just assuming here 10. For each light, I need 10 linear meters, so 200 multiplied by 10, that's 2,000, and per light, I'm assuming 35 for the wires and all, so I'm getting this amount. And I need an electrician to be in the site only for managing these things, because we have seen that in so many projects, the generator breaks, or the lights are not working, or the laborers are stopping because they cannot connect some hand tools or drills or grinders or whatever. So an electrician who will be there 18 months only to manage these things, 18 into 2,000, I am getting his salary here, and I am getting 1 million here for the power and lighting of this site, and this amount is coming here. So as you can see, it is just full of assumptions. You have to assume for everything so that you can get a number in the end. You have to imagine the project, imagine what are the things that you will need, but these subsections and these items will help you do that. Now coming to the subsection number 8, which is the temporary works. And under the temporary works, we have the traffic diversion, access roads, dewatering. So I'm just assuming that in this project, these things will be not applicable. And after that, we have subsection number 9, which is the sundry items. So again, testing of materials, testing of the works, all of these things included for me. Rubbish removal, I'm just adding a lump sum amount here to remove the rubbish from the site on monthly basis or something. And maintenance of public and private roads. So I'm assuming that we will not damage anything, so not applicable. And any regulations required, that's included. And this is how I estimate the cost for the general requirements. Now, if you see how much I am getting here, actually I'm getting around 5.3 million. And all these numbers are just for educational purposes. They don't reflect anything. But if you look at the building that I was assuming that I am doing or estimating the general requirements for, this building expected price is about 65 million. So I'm getting something here around 8 or 9% for things that seem to be logical for this kind of building, which will take 18 months to be executed. The building criteria here, it has 2 basements, ground, 1 podium, 8 typical floors, roof, and all of that. So it's a big building with 235,000 square foot built up area or 21,000 square meter built up area. So a project in that size, let's say, will need these general requirements that we talked about here now. And if you are interested in cost estimation overall, you may check out this video here where I show you how to create a cost estimation template and estimate the cost of concrete works. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.